Artificial intelligence is reshaping the global economy at remarkable speed. It promises higher productivity, new industries, and cheaper services, but also threatens to deepen inequality and displace millions of workers. As with every major technological revolution, one question defines the era: who gets rich and who gets replaced? Economists increasingly describe AI as a new general-purpose technology, a powerful tool like electricity or the internet that can be applied across many sectors. Unlike earlier software, modern AI systems can process language, images, and patterns in ways that were once reserved for humans, especially in routine cognitive tasks like customer support, basic coding, data entry, and documentation. AI affects the economy through two main channels. It can automate tasks that humans used to do, reducing the need for certain kinds of labor. It can also augment workers, making them more productive and increasing the value of their time. The balance between automation and augmentation, between replacement and empowerment, is at the heart of AI economics. One of the clearest winners of the AI boom are those who own AI capital, the models, data, computing infrastructure, and platforms that deliver AI services. Recent research finds a statistically significant link between the accumulation of AI capital stock and rising wealth inequality. As firms invest more in AI, a larger share of income flows to capital owners rather than workers. In practical terms, this means that shareholders of AI-intensive companies, venture capital investors, and founders of AI startups are positioned to capture a disproportionate share of the gains. Their assets scale globally. Once an AI model is trained, it can serve millions of customers at relatively low marginal cost, allowing profits to grow far faster than payrolls. Another group that stands to gain are highly skilled workers who can build, deploy, or work effectively with AI tools. Studies of job postings show that roles requiring AI skills command a large wage. Premium jobs explicitly requiring AI skills often offer much higher wages than comparable roles without those skills. Early labor data suggests many high-skill professionals, like some software engineers, quantitative analysts, and advanced professionals in finance and healthcare, are seeing their productivity boosted rather than replaced. For these workers, AI functions as a powerful assistant, drafting code, summarizing documents, generating analysis, and allowing them to handle more complex work in less time. There is also a more subtle group of potential winners: local service workers in the economies where AI-driven incomes are concentrated. When top earners in AI-related sectors see their wages rise, they tend to spend more on local services: restaurants, childcare, home repairs, healthcare, and entertainment. Past research in tech hubs has found that each additional high-tech job can create multiple additional service jobs in the surrounding economy as higher-income workers spend more in their communities. Some global economic leaders argue that a similar dynamic may play out with AI. Higher productivity and pay at the top could increase demand for lower-wage service work, even as middle-skill routine jobs come under pressure. AI rarely replaces entire jobs at once. Instead, it targets specific tasks inside jobs, especially repetitive, rules-based, or purely codifiable activities. Economists distinguish between codified knowledge, things you can look up in a manual or a database, and tacit knowledge, which comes from experience, judgment, and human interaction. Where tasks rely mostly on codified knowledge, AI can automate them relatively easily. Where tasks rely heavily on tacit knowledge, reading a room, negotiating, motivating a team, or handling a nuanced relationship, AI tends to be a complement rather than a substitute. Recent simulations and exposure indices try to quantify how much of the existing workforce could be replaced by current AI systems. Some modeling studies estimate that existing AI capabilities could in principle automate tasks equivalent to roughly 1/10 of the U.S. workforce's wages, especially in finance, healthcare administration, and professional services. Other analyses of occupational exposure find that computer programmers, customer service representatives, and financial analysts are among the most exposed because a large share of their everyday tasks can already be done by language models and related tools. At the same time, early evidence shows that while unemployment in these occupations has not yet surged, hiring into them, especially for young workers in their early 20s, appears to be slowing. New wage and employment data suggests that employment in sectors most exposed to AI has declined, even as overall employment in the broader economy has grown. The decline is concentrated among younger workers, especially those under 25 trying to enter AI-exposed fields, while employment for older workers in the same sectors has held up. The pattern hints at a future in which AI makes it harder for new entrants to establish themselves in certain white-collar professions. If AI systems can handle entry-level tasks, summarizing reports, drafting routine emails, producing simple code, firms may need fewer junior staff, reducing the traditional ladder by which workers used to accumulate experience and progress. Evidence is mounting that AI adoption is associated with widening wealth gaps within countries. Studies analyzing AI capital investment find a clear, positive correlation between AI capital stock and measured wealth inequality. As AI capital grows, the share of wealth held by the top of the distribution tends to increase. The mechanism is straightforward. Firms that successfully deploy AI can expand output and profits without proportionately expanding their workforce. So returns accrue primarily to capital owners and a relatively small group of highly skilled workers. Meanwhile, workers in roles that are partially automated may face slower wage growth or displacement, even as overall productivity rises. Many economists worry that AI could squeeze the middle of the labor market. If high-skilled professionals use AI to become even more productive and low-wage local service jobs remain difficult to automate, the biggest pressure may fall on mid-skill, routine-heavy white-collar roles, back-office clerks, basic analysts, paralegals, and some administrative staff. International organizations have warned that AI could create an accordion effect, stretching opportunities at the very top and sustaining some demand at the bottom, while thinning out middle-class jobs that traditionally offered stability and upward mobility. Depending on how fast workers can retrain and how quickly new roles emerge, this dynamic could either stabilize or dramatically reshape the social contract. The distribution of AI's benefits also depends on who has access to the technology, skills, and infrastructure. Case studies from lower and middle-income countries show that AI-based efficiency gains in sectors like finance, healthcare, and education are often concentrated among urban elites and technologically advanced groups. Low-income workers, women, and rural communities frequently face barriers such as limited digital infrastructure, low digital literacy, and underrepresentation in data, which can exacerbate existing social inequalities. Without active policies to broaden access, AI risks amplifying the divide between those who can leverage it and those who cannot. AI is also reshaping inequality between countries. High-income economies and a handful of wealthier developing nations have the digital infrastructure, research institutions, and capital needed to develop and deploy advanced AI systems at scale. These countries are likely to capture a large share of the value from AI, from licensing and cloud services to AI-enhanced products and platforms. Poorer countries with weaker digital infrastructure and fewer AI labs risk becoming primarily consumers of imported AI technologies rather than producers, which could widen global income gaps over time. Despite these risks, some analyses suggest AI could also reduce certain forms of inequality. Because many high-paying professional jobs, like some types of software development or legal work, are heavily exposed to AI automation, it is possible that AI will compress wage gaps by eroding some of the highest incomes. Model-based work from international institutions indicates that AI's net effect on inequality depends on which channel dominates. If displacement of high-income workers is strong, wage inequality could shrink even as wealth inequality tied to capital ownership grows. In this scenario, AI might narrow some salary gaps while still concentrating asset-based wealth at the top. There is also evidence that in many jobs, AI is currently being used more as an augmenting technology than as a pure replacement. Early labor market studies find limited impact on unemployment so far in the most AI-exposed occupations, though hiring patterns and task structures are already changing. This suggests a window of time in which societies can adapt education, training, and policy before displacement becomes more severe. If AI pushes more income toward capital, tax systems become critical in determining who ultimately benefits. Economists point to progressive taxation, closing loopholes, and possibly new forms of taxation on large-scale AI-driven rents as tools to prevent extreme concentration of wealth while still rewarding innovation. Debates over policies like expanded social safety nets, wage insurance, and even universal basic income are partly responses to the expectation that AI and automation will intensify labor market risk for many workers. How governments adjust tax and transfer systems will shape whether AI-driven prosperity is broadly shared or narrowly captured. Another key lever is education and skills policy. As AI automates routine tasks, the most resilient jobs are likely to be those that rely on complex problem-solving, creativity, interpersonal skills, and domain expertise that AI can augment but not fully replace. This implies a shift from one-off education at the start of life to continuous reskilling and upskilling. Training programs that help workers use AI tools effectively rather than compete directly with them can turn potential replacement into augmentation and preserve or even raise wages. For young people, curricula that combine technical literacy with critical thinking and social skills will be especially valuable. Because AI markets tend to have strong network effects and large fixed costs, they naturally favor big players. A small number of firms can dominate model development, data access, and cloud infrastructure, allowing them to accumulate outsized economic and political power. Antitrust enforcement, open standards, and policies that support open source or smaller scale AI development can prevent extreme concentration and keep room for broader participation in AI-driven growth. Without such measures, the group that gets rich may narrow to a handful of global platforms and their investors. The economics of AI do not point to a single predetermined future. One trajectory, if current trends go unchecked, is a world of higher productivity but deeper divides where a narrow elite of capital owners and AI experts become much richer. A layer of local service workers survives on modest wages, and many mid-skill workers struggle to adapt. Another trajectory shaped by deliberate policy and innovation is a world in which AI augments most workers, compresses wage gaps by automating some high-end tasks, and funds stronger social protections through taxes on AI-enhanced profits. In this scenario, the benefits of AI diffusion from cheaper services to medical breakthroughs could be widely shared, even if some jobs disappear and new ones must be created. Which future emerges depends on choices made now: how governments regulate and tax AI, how companies share gains with employees, how societies invest in education and infrastructure, and how inclusive AI access becomes across regions and demographics. AI is not just an economic technology, it is a mirror reflecting our values about who should prosper and who we are willing to protect. So, who gets rich and who gets replaced in the age of AI? The early evidence suggests that owners of AI capital and highly skilled AI-fluent workers are positioned to gain the most, while young, routine task workers and those without digital access face higher risks. But these outcomes are not fixed. The economics of AI are still being written in code bases and capital markets in classrooms and parliaments. As this technology spreads, our collective decisions will determine whether AI becomes a force for shared prosperity or a new engine of inequality. The question is not only what AI can do, but what we choose to do with it.